Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another stream of Magic the Gathering Arena. Today is Friday, January 24th. Let's go ahead and re-roll this part. Let's see if there's anything new here. No, doesn't look like anything's changed. Do things kind of change on a weekly basis? Is there any indication of that? No. It's kind of impossible to figure that out. This standard metagame challenge in traditional dress, Theros Beyond Death, not even promoted. At a certain point, I guess Magic needs to make a decision whether it thinks by default certain players should play just some or all of their offerings. In a weird way, I would think they would be better off if they just offered everything, and then if I clicked on something that they thought was more advanced, they warned me at that point. Hiding it behind a switch is not a good way to present your game because it makes your game seem a lot smaller. Like when you click play here and you have only 3 events ever going, but in reality you have 6 to 9 events actually going. You're hiding a lot there. Hiding a lot, which probably implies that there isn't much of a player base, or a lot of these are bot matches, which I imagine they are, and they want more people to just play regular gameplay games. And I could certainly understand that, but in the meantime, it still feels like they're just advertising the same things over and over again for an entire week. Meanwhile, they want you to play every single day and get 15 wins, so if I was jumping in a Magic Arena every day, it would be very, very repetitive as far as what I'm seeing. I think I have some packs to open. Nope. I don't? Okay. Interesting. I thought I did. So I guess that means we can just start thinking about what we're gonna do. Blue and or green. So let's try green, and then we'll work on some blue too. So the Steam Chinese New Year lunar sale is going on. Unlike the winter sale, I don't feel like it doesn't look like it's one of the trading card badges sales, and honestly it is a little too close to the Christmas winter sale anyways to spend a lot of money. I have like $11 left over from that sale, so I might buy a couple things. They're not even really doing a great job telling people that games are on sale. Instead, what they're doing is highlighting just 9 things that you're getting, like 9 games that are being highlighted on sale. But if you go to your wish list and sort by discount, if you have a wish list established of any games, you'll see that that some of those games will be on sale. But if you don't have that opportunity, then I guess you'd have to maybe sort through top sellers or something. You really would be just dancing around in a crazy way. Yeah. You wouldn't be very far in your journey as far as being a YouTuber. See, we're getting some drop frames networking. What could be causing that? What would be causing network troubles? We may not be able to fix it. Let me just double check that there aren't any videos playing. As for the accountability section for today, I played a little bit of a Hat in Time, and I'm working towards trying to wrap that up kind of faster than I would normally. There's some burnout happening at this point. Like there definitely is some stuff that I just don't think I'm gonna ever bother to do, because that's just not really worth the effort. Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the fact that I'm having trouble, and here I'm about to lose this game before I've even gotten anywhere with this game. So let's just go ahead and play this. And can't really do anything else. So this Satyr Scout, when an enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards in your library. You may reveal a land among them and put that card in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. When a enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, get +1/+1 this turn. I don't think either one of these are useful things. And was I just mana locked it up until this point? This guy has reach. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, gain 2 life. That won't help me any. So yeah, accountability wise, I played a little bit of a Hat in Time. I'm starting to burn out a little bit, and I still have yet to unlock the second to last chapter. There is this kind of consistent issue in which some of the challenges and some of the things they're asking you to do seem really difficult compared to like a Mario 64 game, where it is, I think, fairly reasonable that a kid playing Mario 64 can get all 120 stars. It's going to take him a little bit of time, and he's going to have to put a little bit of effort into it, but it's not going to be impossible. Whereas there are definitely some things that feel impossible at first glance, in as far as a Hat in Time goes, and every single boss fight I've done really hasn't ever succeeded on the first try. What happens is that you fail the first time with a boss fight, and then it gets easier for you, and because it gets easier, you then on the second try I succeed. I'm trying to just put in more copies of cards I already have here, so we can see how this really is going to go. There we go. So not trying to change this deck too much, just trying to take out the cards that I don't think are successful or going to be successful at all. After playing Hat in Time in a little bit, I decided just flippantly that I was going to take a bit of a small vacation break and watch a Netflix series. I settled on one that was being advertised called October Faction. I will say the series, the 10 episode series there, does not end well. It ends on a cliffhanger, and in retrospect it was a pretty bad experience, but knowing where it ended. It wasn't a terrible experience while watching it, which is kind of shocking considering how it seems like they had a different director every 3 episodes, which to me seems strange. It's not unheard of to lose your director, your production team after the first episode or 2, have a dispute, just decide that the production company just deciding to go a different direction. But to have so many directors screams something is wrong, something along the lines of there being production company interference, because that's really the only thing I could imagine was happening there, or just an incredibly short amount of budget. They cram a lot of stuff, and I will leave it at a lot of the stuff that they cram into October Faction was stuff I did not appreciate and did not feel necessary for the type of story that they were telling, and I'll leave it at that. But then they just cram in a lot of other stuff on top of that for no reason, which makes the first 10 episodes feel like an attempt to get a 5-season series without actually putting in the legwork to establish characters and establish a show that would deserve even a second season, let alone a 5-season storyline, which Netflix is not really known to do that anyways. They pretty much only want to give you 3 seasons. So if I was going to pitch a project or try to make anything with Netflix, 3 seasons would be it, as far as I would consider. I would not believe for a second, even if they were promising more, I would definitely have a wrap up after 3 seasons. And that's not a bad place to end a story if you can do it in 3 seasons, and then maybe have hopes for 3 more seasons if it goes really, really well. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody watch October Faction until the entire thing is finished, if it does get more seasons. Otherwise, it's skippable. The initial premise is a pretty good one. I didn't even bother to mention it, but like, it's a couple of parents who are secretly monster hunters. So it's kind of like supernatural, or at least the initial premise was like supernatural, if instead of Sam and Dean Winchester, brothers who can never have any kind of other relationships or family besides each other. So instead of having that, you have older, slightly burnt out adult parents with nearly adult children that you're trying to hide it from. Of course, at some point you have to do the big reveal, and the kids have to find out, but that doesn't have to happen within the first season or anywhere close to the first season. Speaking of story and A Hat in Time as separate things I was discussing, there is a certain narrative in the chapter 4 that's trying to be told. There's a chapter in A Hat in Time called Alpine Skies. After you collect each timepiece, these plants bloom and they release pollen that get absorbed by these giant ox-like creatures, and you kind of see the same animation for 3 or 4 times until you get to the finale, and then it's like, surprise, surprise, now there's some kind of illness or allergy, for lack of a better term, affecting these creatures, and I guess maybe they'll be the bad guys in that in a final boss fight. It's not told
I've done the hero
super
thing.
well, and because it's just kind of the same animation with no dialogue or explanation, you don't even really get the idea that the Ox people are really even being affected by the pollen, more than just kind of shaking. And there's no bigger narrative really in A Hat Time, but I did also find out as the game crashed and it reloaded and downloaded a whole new patch, I think adding co-op, split screen co-op to the game, that there is a whole section, a whole chapter of DLC that I still have not found or unlocked, which is kind of crazy. So it gives me every indication in A Hat in Time that if I go to the attic level, that'll be the beginning of the end or the end of the game in general. Meanwhile, I still feel like there's probably a ability to unlock somewhere, because there's still some stuff that's a little too difficult, and there definitely is at least an entire chapter that doesn't unlock until you have 35 pieces, but I have only like 31, and the attic level, which feels like the last level, is unlocked at like 25. So I could just be misinterpreting things, and probably should just go do the attic level. I should go double check it and just make sure that it isn't the place to be. The breadcrumbing, the signposting in A Hat in Time is not particularly great. And one of the DLCs has you go back and do, which they want you to replay a more difficult version of the worst and most difficult level in the game before you can even unlock any of the other more difficult versions of any of the other levels. So I could easily see myself not bothering to do that. To mention, get back to the Chinese New Year sale, I did get a friend request on Steam and accept it. Hopefully people didn't send that request a couple days ago, but yeah, I did accept that request finally, and if that is potentially somebody's going to gift me a game during the sale, that would be great. Like, this would be a great sale for people to support me through, because this would be a sale where I'm not going to really buy much, if anything. Then there is a badge if you spent like $150 that would get upgraded, but you have to. They're doing the whole token thing again, and most of the tokens, they mostly want you to spend the tokens on getting chat room features and elements like that. Things that you're less likely to have reason to interact with or use. It's just doing no attacks. Probably should have put this on the field, come to think of it. Here's an interesting question on my Twitter, since I'm on my Twitter. YouTube Creators is asking a interesting question in a poll. What do you consider a small creator? Under 100 subs, under 1,000 subs, under 10,000 subs, under 50,000 subs. I think if you have under 10,000 subs, you're a small-time creator. I think 50,000, if you're, I mean, you might be a small-time creator even if you're under 50,000. Destroy target artifact. Destroy target enchantment. Is this a... Nope. Undo. Do that. Okay. And what do we want to do now? We could attack with this, probably fine. And see if he wants to let that through or not. This is a piece of gold with a new art on it. I guess I'm gonna vote under 50,000 subs. And by voting under 50,000 subs, you can see that the results right now are 21.2% say it's under 100 subs, 29.1% say it's under 1,000 subs, 27.5% say it's under 10,000 subs, and 22.2% is. There is a sliding scale most definitely also on the number of subs, because if you have 100,000 subs, but that's because you've been doing this for 10 years, that is very different than somebody who's brand new trying to get 10,000 subs. So there's more consideration that would have to be placed into that. I feel like we should probably attack with these two and just see what happens. But the bell curve does seem to show that the people, at least, who would be following the people who would be following YouTube creators on Twitter think it's under 1,000 subs. Whereas in all actuality, this is kind of just reaffirming and proving YouTube's point to say small creators are not the people we care about, therefore we're going to not let anybody in the partner program unless they have 1,000 subscribers. Like, I should change my vote. Can I change my vote? Yeah, there you go. Is there a way to change your vote on Twitter? Let's see, pull down. Nope. Can't undo your vote. I should have voted under 100 subs, then I would call myself as somebody who has 350 subs, some above that level. And then maybe they would reevaluate at that point. If anything, I just told them anybody under 50,000 is not anybody that they should be concerned about. I guess it really boils down to how much you think just the phrase small-time YouTube creators impacts or they're focused on that. I would honestly be glad if there was even a secondary system different than the YouTube Partner Program with more evaluation or more stringent requirements to get some kind of monetization back. I don't mind being a YouTuber in a minor league equivalent instead of having to play in a major league and then just being kicked out of that. But I do mind being a YouTuber in a college league where the college is absolutely forbidding you to make any money. It's like, at least in theory, the college leagues where those athletes aren't getting paid, they're getting educations or scholarships. So at least those probably mostly false arguments could be made in a comparison. But just being a YouTuber who just can't make any money because YouTube says so, it seems unfair just because I don't have enough subscribers while they're actively working against you to not get any subscribers. I've literally gotten to the point, and I don't want to turn this into a huge rant, but I've literally gotten to the point where I am genuinely surprised when I get a new subscriber. Like, I know I got one a couple of days ago, and it was actively shocking. But overall, in the past 28 days, according to the analytics, I've actually lost a subscriber. So, and that's another thing, is it does seem like YouTube's algorithm pushes hard for you to get one subscriber every time you lose a subscriber, and that's it. That's all they care about. It's just maintaining you somewhat. But then you don't get any promotion after that one subscriber. Alright. It is probably a mostly sleepy Friday, and we don't have a ton of news, and I really don't have a lot to say about it at Hat in Time. Otherwise, I'll try and play it, and like I said, I don't want to get into a rant against how cruel and unfair YouTube has treated small-time creators, which I would consider myself a small-time creator, honestly, until I have at least 20,000 subscribers, because it depends on just how many views I would be getting on above that amount before I really started to think further as if I was a bigger creator than that. Because if I had like 20,000 subscribers and I still was barely getting 1,000 views, well, that worked. It didn't work. Interesting. So if I had just buffed this guy twice, I would have won, but I didn't. Interesting. Interesting the order in which those cards played. These are the new special skins that they have. Apparently that guy couldn't block. There's a new pack. Let's open this. So yeah, it really wouldn't be a bad idea, particularly since I kind of overslept and started late today to just do the news and wrap up for the weekend. So now I have 3 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this, and 3 of this. Which that's not a lot of progress. Kill 25 of your opponent's creatures. So let's see if maybe we could get up to gold. Let's see, how much time do we really have? 6 days. Do you think we could get up to platinum in 6 days? Not really. But let's just play and see. One of the Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE game, I don't have that story up, but apparently that sold worse than its original Wii U version. Being an older game, being a niche game, some of that kind of makes sense. I think there was also some censorship in there, and being a anime style visual game, anime fans in particular are not prone to supporting things that have the stink of being censored on them. So yeah, that didn't sell that well. I also just saw a headline that somebody getting muted in a video game tried to sue, I guess, for claiming that their free speech has been violated, and the US courts ruled against them. Of course, the thing there is that the concept of free speech is a concept that supersedes the US Constitution and US law, and US law only protects a certain amount of that, whereas the entire concept and what is often preached for by free speech advocates is further than what any government would likely ever support. On the other hand, if you're going to make the legal argument that a video game is a soapbox area where people go and gather to have conversation, or where they have a reasonable expectation that people will stand on a soapbox and have a conversation, it's kind of a hard argument to make also. I don't know how you can make that particularly a believable statement. But then again, also you could make the argument that the soapbox metaphor has become this increasingly small area, mentally speaking, of places. Like, that there's so many places where people are encouraged to talk and allowed to talk, but only allowed to talk if the corporation that's running that place allows it and likes what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense that a place like Facebook would be considered a place where a soapbox is reasonable to. It's reasonable that people should be allowed to have free speech there. But a video game chat system, in its defining reason for existing, probably isn't 100% there to facilitate speech as much as it is to facilitate cooperation in the game. And it's always pretty much been that way too. To make the devil's argument here, it's not unrealistic to say that there wouldn't be chat in a game if the game wasn't an online co-op team-based game. In most cases, very rarely are there single-player games that have chat features added to them. individually. We have hit a point where if you're playing on something like Steam, the Steam chat could be anything in any game. But yeah. It's a bit of a tough one. And I wouldn't be surprised if that court case actually went the other direction in appeals. Now I don't think I can fall down gold tier, so I could just continuously play here, but if I don't gain pips, I will lose pips if I gain any, so I would need a run of victories. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. Court rules Nintendo's strict digital pre-order policies don't violate EU laws. Consumer rights case was kicked off in Norway in 2018. At that time, a German judge dismissed accusations that the Nintendo's no refund policy violated the EU's Consumers' Rights Directive. Nintendo's claims throughout the proceedings have been that pre-ordered games are eligible for preloading, and though unplayable at the point, the potential download counts as the start of distribution, which apparently affects the outcome as far as whether or not you can get a refund or not. It certainly isn't a case that makes Nintendo look like the good guys. As much as we would want Nintendo to always be the good guys, let's face it, they often aren't the good guys or consumer advocates. The Switch still, as far as its online services, offers the least of any of the platforms. Nintendo of Japan, in particular, still does not really let a lot of Nintendo streamers stream. Like, we've never seen them back down on that. They still actively go against people who upload old Nintendo Power magazines that can't really be collected or viewed anywhere else. They still actively go against people putting up ROMs of old games that often can't be played easily even through the eShop. If some of those games are available, definitely not all of them. And Nintendo does seem like it wastes effort doing a lot of the shadier things it does, which Nintendo's not even that bad compared to other companies, but it's still pretty bad. But instead of focusing in on something better, like making the next Metroid game, they do tend to be focused on just continuously making suing people. Let's see, moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Square Enix forms 2 new Kingdom Hearts development teams. So there's no end to Kingdom Hearts characters, obviously, or Kingdom Hearts games. Which I would argue this is to be expected from Square Enix, who really doesn't know what to do with their, like, let's be honest, Square Enix is not in a good position as far as a company, and they need to do better, and they don't know how to do better, and they keep turning out either the same garbage over and over again, or they turn out something that's or they don't turn out anything else, and they meddle with far too many of the projects, so nothing ever comes out well or in a timely manner. The right move with Kingdom Hearts would have been for them to take a break, spend 2 years thinking about what is the next generation of Kingdom Hearts going to be. Are we going to have Sora as the main character? Are we going to have Mickey, Donald, or Goofy? Like, you could probably pretty easily get rid of Goofy and Donald as characters and replace them with other Disney characters to follow along. All the Final Fantasy characters could probably be replaced with other Final Fantasy-esque characters, so that you just have a new generation that doesn't connect or confuse the storyline. A more streamlined, a better experience, a better trilogy that really was just 3 games instead of 9 games with all these side projects, I think would be way more easily accessible. And by making something more easily accessible, I think you have a better chance of it being purchased by more people. Because right now, even if I could play the Kingdom Hearts games on PC, which I can't, because they're not available, I would never touch the Kingdom Hearts series with a 10-foot pole because they're just too complicated. It's just asking way too much to try and figure out what's going on in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called Dragon and Weed Origins Season 1 Volume 1, which that sounds kind of like a low effort joke name, but the looks of it makes it kind of look like there's actually a game here. It actually does look like there might be some effort here. This is early access, and let's see. I turned on one of the Steam DB plugin, so the pages look a little bit different. I don't know why I had it turned off. I think it was broken for a while. So you can see this is discounted to $16.71, English and French. I'm going to put it on the fall list, and we'll see if this game actually turns in some way to an actual game. Like, I don't see any dragons, so I assume that the name Dragon and Weed, it probably means you're some kind of mercenaries, possibly in a kind of drug war scenario. I'm gonna switch over to just playing non-ranked games, so in hopes of getting it a little bit easier. Next, we have a game on Steam called All Her Journeys, a collection of visual novels. The idea of collecting visual novels seems insane, considering how most visual novels, if there are any quality whatsoever, are super long. But looking at the graphics, you can also see that this is an incredibly low effort mix mash of RPG Maker stuff and terrible, probably stolen art assets. This is early access, discounted to $8.99 English with no full audio. There's literally nothing here that would convince me that this is a good game. Alright, what do I want to do? Do I want to put this on the field? Or do I want to wait? Like, I have a tendency that I think there's a middle ground with this deck in particular, where you have to kind of wait your first few games, few turns. Particularly if you don't have something like this. Play this. Play this. What does this guy do? Just puts a 1/1 counter on it when it attacks. Create a number of 1/1 goblins equal to his power. Okay. See, next we have a game on Steam called Skater Frog, which, yep, we're still getting MS Paint level graphics, infinite runner games every now and then, or games with MS Paint graphics and infinite runner games. Sometimes not the same games. This is free, so I guess the price is right. English full audio. The Steam database plugin in particular tells you the all-time peak players, which also would have been super useful in a Steam wishlist fall list cleanup. The fact that I hadn't done anything with that so far is clearly a mistake on my part. What in the world happened there? What in the world just happened there? Everything had double strike? Did everything have double strike? I think everything had double strike. Alright, well, I've lost. Well, I've lost either way, though, because if everything had double strike anyways, I would have lost. Next we have a game on Steam here called Retro Tanks, which looks like a top-down tank shooter game. Doesn't look particularly interesting. $3.74, English full audio. Nothing there. Just keep on playing, keep on trying for victories. We might switch up decks. Here's an interesting article from Gamasutra. Counterplay Games game Duelist is going offline for good in February. Duelist was a game, as far as mini collectible card game / deck building games that are on Steam that I had on my fall list and thought, well, if it got really popular, I'd play it instead of playing Hearthstone or now Magic Arena. Of course, Duelist never got anywhere close to being successful at all. Duelist played, I think, a little bit differently than some of the other games out there, and that was probably a detriment to it also. But the truth is, Gwent had a small chance of succeeding, and it still really didn't succeed, and there really weren't too many collectible card games that have a great chance. Now, you can do something like Slay the Spire, where that's a single-player deck-building game, and so it's not competing on the same playfield. But otherwise, if you're trying to make some free-to-play service like Hearthstone or Magic Arena, you have to have a big company behind it. A very decent argument can be made that Magic Arena has all of Hasbro and Wizard of the Coast behind it, and still they don't put enough money and support into it to make it a success like it should be. The growing complaints about how 2019 was a huge mishandling of Magic Arena. If 2020 is a huge mishandling of Magic Arena also, and this interface is just neglected. I don't know if many people are going to have faith in this as a product. And I'm not 100% sure that they wouldn't just make a Magic Arena version 2, some other system that's just going to replace this, because they screwed this one up too much. This game should not be called Magic Arena in the first place. It should be called Magic Online version 2.0. And it should have shifted all the people playing Magic Online over to the new interface, but they couldn't do that because they don't have all the same cards and they don't have all the same play styles. Let's see, moving on, OpenCritic has an article here. Frictions Games is teasing their next game with an elaborate augmented reality game. So, some kind of human mind inside of a robot body, it looks like. I don't know really if I care about any of these augmented reality games though. Like, they're so limited that you can really only deal with them as they're happening. Nobody can go back and play them once there's a walkthrough, once there's any bit of help. And an augmented reality game would be the premium style of game that would benefit from having extra bits of information and a walkthrough. Next we have a game on Steam called Virtual Race Car Engineer 2020. So it's some kind of low effort simulation game where you're an engineer for race cars and not actually racing the game. This is $19.99, English and French. Yep, that looks pretty bad. So of course that's not making it to the follow list. We really only have about 20 pages left today, and we may just go short. Like the only other thing I could do is potentially just do a bit of shopping and look at the Lunar New Year sale somewhat, but I don't know if I'm even particularly motivated around doing that. Next we have a game on Steam called Chase, which looks like it's a flying game where you're flying in valleys of sorts, which would probably be incredibly dangerous, and I don't think planes typically would fly in valleys. $4.99, no discount, to English full audio. It's a little surprising that this is basically the Star Wars Trench Run, just with a bunch of different backgrounds. Let's see. Keep killing all my characters. There we go.
You cannot hurt my hollow soul.
It is surprising that these new games aren't on sale. It does go to show that games don't just automatically go on sale during these Steam sales. Alright, next would be to attack with this, and then decide not to attack with that one. rid of him in the turn. And what I can do here is as soon as he plays something, I can tag him. And then he can't really attack. And we've got him kind of locked down. But the lockdown's not really gonna save me. Because if I got Bola Citadel right now, really wouldn't have a lot of health to survive around that. And as soon as he draws a card of any use to him, then we're gonna have trouble. This one can defend. So we'll just see if he wants to defend. Or if he'll let me do damage. Next we have a game on Steam, 4x4 Off-Road Challenge. This looks like it's mostly an asset flip 4x4 racing game. It's not visually polished enough to be interesting. $15.99, no discount. English only. Yeah, if I had more time and more ambition, knowing that the Steam database plugin is now working again, it would be very nice and helpful to have that enabled and do a follow list cleanup. I don't know if I really need to do a follow list cleanup, nor is it really even time to do a follow list cleanup, come to think of it. So, yeah, those would definitely be considerations. Alright, Bola Citadel might speed some things up, but very well might just end with us dying too. So if he was smart, he would use these two guys to defeat this guy. But I don't think half the people that play play Magic even know the way the games work. Okay. These two need to attack. This needs to play. Let's just go ahead and attack with this and this, and then do nothing else and be very cautious. Gamma Sutra has an article here. THQ owns Amplifier Games, invests, opens a Amplifier Game Invest. I don't know how you even phrase that. That seems like terrible. Should be THQ owned company Amplifier Games or Amplifier Games invests invest in opening a new suite of studio. Unless the name of the company is Amplifier Game Invest, which does not make sense. Yeah, but it seems like they've opened a new studio in Sweden. What does that really mean? Probably not as much as you would think. resolve all of that. And then might as well play this and end the turn. So tap this guy, resolve, tap this guy. Alright. This, who do we want back on the field? This one's not bad, because we put that on the field. That's basically free. Put that on the field. Put this on the field. This is basically free again. And I think we've got a victory here, because I attack with all of these, and that does it. And then we activate this ability, which the Vindictive Vampire is not even really needing to play a role here, because the Bola Citadel itself will do 10 damage. Like, we had 12 extra damage there. Of course, victories are nice, and we are trying to get those, but we also have a daily quest here to kill 25 of your opponent's creatures, and that's a more difficult challenge because it involves people actually deciding to defend. Honestly, what I would do with Magic is I would make a new game playstyle, specifically for the digital, where instead of having toughness, they have health. They don't recover that health at all. Same characters, they just don't recover health. You can do that in digital, you can't really do that in the real world. Although it probably wouldn't even be too hard to do it in the real world if you put maybe a monitoring cell phone app that would keep all of that, or if you just were playing at a tournament level where observers were making sure people weren't cheating too much. And I would get all of the land and make a 15 pile land deck. Every turn you would draw one land from your land deck as long as you have it, and you will put that one land card on the playfield. That will incredibly speed up the process of playing the game and eliminate any scenarios where any player is mana locked and they just can't play, or nearly any scenarios. I suppose if you put 14 swamps and one red card, and then you needed that one red card, if you just designed your deck that way, I suppose that would be a pain. But beyond that would be the only way you mess yourself up. That would also allow you to then have, even if you don't change anything else, 45 straight cards that you draw from your main deck always, instead of having the chance that you'll draw a land. You will always draw either a spell or a creature. And honestly, I think that's pretty much all you need to change. Maybe you tweak the life in gameplay testing a little bit. Maybe there's a thing here or there you would shift up a little bit or shift down, but I don't think you really need to do much different there, and I think that would just speed up the process quite a bit. If I was going to make a digital interface for it, I would have timers move a lot faster, and I'd have it play a lot more automatic. I'd probably try to see if I could get rid of a lot of the phases and resolution orders. Maybe simplify things, have spells and instants and sorceries and all of those resolve in a faster way. Faster being the key phrase there. Less complicated way might be also very useful. Anyways, moving on from that fantasy, TechRaptor has an article here. Fire Pro Wrestling World DLC has been launched to support an injured wrestler. 100% of the proceeds pays the paralyzed Perusu performer. I don't know. Puroresu. So it's benefiting Yoshihiro Takayama, a Japanese professional wrestler and MMA fighter who competed for 25 years. He was paralyzed from the neck down during a match. Okay. Well, I don't know this wrestler, but I certainly have heard stories like this before where wrestlers have been paralyzed, and so there's something to that. I have an unread chat message. Interesting. I'll read that later. Let's go ahead and play. Let's see. Next, we have a game on Steam called Without a Roof War, which looks like it's an asset flip, first-person shooter, survival, building game. I don't know why people even thought that those styles of games were going to be the next big thing. It kind of works for Fortnite, it kind of works for PUBG, but those Battle Royale games weren't really even the survival build things style of games that a lot of people were making before PUBG and Fortnite became popular. Combining a Minecraft element with first-person shooting, I guess, was the idea, and it almost 100% is Steam's fault. They let some games like that come out and be popular, and it drove an entire group of people who have no good ideas on their own to think that that's what people wanted, when I don't honestly believe that is what people wanted. Anyways, for this specific game, it's discounted to $19.99. It claims it has full audio on English and no other language support, but I don't know if I really believe it. Let's see. Gamasutra has an article here. Google deal lands Activision Blizzard esports events exclusively on YouTube Gaming, which YouTube Gaming is just a portal for YouTube now, not a separate initiative or site as far as anybody really cares or is concerned. Also, Google Cloud has been named the preferred provider, which that probably doesn't mean much to anybody. Until recently, Twitch had the exclusive streaming rights for Overwatch League matches. I think there is also a point to be made that I don't think Activision Blizzard's streaming stuff is even run by Activision Blizzard. I think they pulled out of that and just left it for ESL to run the show, or maybe I'm thinking of a different company. So, yeah, Do I honestly think for a second that the Overwatch League or any Activision Blizzard streaming being on YouTube Gaming is going to help my channel in any way? Probably not. I don't know, maybe there's some small percentage of the millions and millions of people who are still watching StarCraft gameplay. Maybe they'll go to YouTube Gaming and maybe they'll get suggested something I covered, and maybe I'll get just the tiniest of little breadcrumbs of viewers from that, and maybe I'll see a small increase in viewers or subscribers because of that. But I certainly would not hold my breath for something like that. That would be insane to even begin to hope. If YouTube wanted to really do something to help small video game YouTubers, video game critics like me, they'd have to be much more focused and much more interested in actually doing that than they are. Moving on, Kometo has an article here. Lil Buster's Converted Edition for the Switch launches April 23rd in Japan. This is I think it's a visual novel game of baseball girls. Yeah. Girls playing in their high school, junior high baseball league. Yeah, it's tagged as a visual novel. Okay, let's go and kill that. I wouldn't be surprised if Little Busters came over to the West. I don't think there's anything too offensive in that story, if I was to guess. Draw a card. Play a card. And what do I want to do? Attack and get it back. I think I'm probably best to do that. Next we have a game on Steam called A Space for the Unbound Prologue, which looks like it's a 2D adventure game, kind of like a point and click adventure. It's tagged supernatural and story rich. It actually has an interesting kind of slice of life animation style to it. I can't 100% determine if this is supposed to be in India or if this is supposed to be in Japan. I would suspect maybe a little bit more in a India-like country, maybe even a Middle Eastern country. They call it Slice of Life Adventure Game 2. It intrigues me. It's free. And then it's a advertisement for A Space for the Unbound in general. So it's a prologue chapter, 15 to 20 minutes. It looks good enough. The animation looks good enough. I'll put it on the follow list. Although its freeness does kind of center around how well the actual game is when the actual game actually comes out. Gamasutra has a job listing here which is slightly interesting in the fact that it's from Boston Dynamics, creators of the terrifying robot dogs and other creatures, other robots. So that's not really a video game company per se that's listing here. They're looking for a software engineer / Android developer, and that's in Waltham, Massachusetts. So they're probably looking for some kind of interface software for one of their robots or one of their experiments that would integrate with something that I guess they're trying to sell as a product that can be controlled by an android. Doesn't mean it's a consumer use thing though. They may be very well making Terminators that they want to control by a Android interface, or they could be making little pet robot dogs for all you know, and they probably won't let you in on any secrets until you've worked there for quite a while. Moving on, we have a game from Komatsu here for PC. Senri no Kifu Gendai Shogi Mystery adds a PC version. This is due out with the PS4 and Switch version, February 27th in Japan. This is a visual novel game centered around playing Japanese chess, which is not the same. Just put it out there. Still, I don't think it's the exact same as playing regular chess. Or Western chess. So you would probably have to know how to play shogi, and I don't think many people in the West do, so there's a decent chance that won't get converted over to to a Western release. Tech Raptor has an article here. Kingdom Hearts Project Xehanort has been announced. So yeah, more Kingdom Hearts stuff. It's thoroughly pathetic, frankly, that when Square Enix is coming out and making an announcement, all they're doing is saying, hey, we're making more Final Fantasy. Hey, we're making more Kingdom Hearts. They didn't even really need to announce those things. One could easily have assumed that to be true. Square Enix needs to come out and announce new projects, even if they're just small indie games that they happen to be publishing. Something that would invigorate the name of Square Enix and show that they aren't just a one-trick pony or a two-trick pony, which is all they feel like these days. Moving on, Gematsu has this article. This is a little interesting considering how this game, The Missing J.J. Macfield and the Island of Memories, it's a long name, that's been out for like 6 months, but maybe it was only on PC, because now it's getting a PS4 and Switch limited physical editions, probably from limited run games. Yeah. So yeah, it does. I feel like these games were. Yeah, it says it is available digitally for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam. So, like, I don't know if you can actually pull that off. That seems like that's asking a lot to get a second push on your game because you released it digitally originally and now you're trying to re-release it as a physical product. It might work though. Like, it's not the dumbest thought I've ever heard as far as a way to get an extra bit of sales without actually putting your game on sale, which would probably do you better. And I could imagine that some games might benefit from being re-released in a physical version because it might allow for a different audience to be attracted. But if you're thinking about J.J. Macfield and Island of the Mysteries, I think anybody who was going to play that weird game probably already bought and played the weird game, and I don't think they're likely to buy it twice. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam here called Herbalist Simulator, which seems like it's maybe a little bit polished, but mostly still an asset flip game, where it seems like you're literally just flower picking around an open world to get elements. Then you're giving these elements to different people who have different ailments. It's $4.24 discounted. It's English and Polish. And yeah, it's just a little too simplistic. Whereas if you were to take that same concept and put it in the what is that? Altair series. Let me see if I can find the name of that series. That of which there's been many released recently. Let me see. ALT. No, that's not it. Yeah, Atelier series. That's what I'm thinking of. The Atelier series, where you play as alchemists, like that. You've got a game in that because there's dungeon crawling and RPG elements, and there's storyline and animation. So, if Herbalist Simulator as a concept interested you, I would heavily recommend playing Atelier, and you probably will have somewhat close to that. There's also some other Japanese games where you run like shops of sorts that might have a lot more polish there. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot I could suggest if you're just looking for a hyper-realistic one, though. Like, not a lot of options there if you don't want something that looks like it's based off an anime. I'm gonna do no attacks in the turn, and then tap this guy, since he has vigilance. Apparently this one got health somehow. I don't think it's quite time to play Taste of Death, so instead I'm just gonna, like, I've got nothing I can do, so all I can really do is just attack here. I mean, I could tap this guy, but then I wouldn't be able to tap this guy next turn. Let's see, next we have a game on Steam called Bingo Hall, which looks like it is a low effort bingo game, which honestly, it wouldn't take too much to make a good bingo game, but they managed a way to not do it. Although I would also argue, if you're going to play bingo, that's such a passive game, why play that on a PC? Why not play that on a cell phone where it would be way better and way more accessible, since it's such a simplistic thing. Anyways, but regardless, Bingo Hall is 59 cents discounted, English only, so yeah, at least they know that it's not a game that's really worth that much. Let's see. Whenever you gain a life, draw a card. Next we have a game on Steam called Inglorious Pirate, which looks like it's a 2D platforming game where you're shooting and there's a bunch of spikes, so it looks like it's a little bit of a frustration platformer and not a lot of variety there. They want $1.19 discounted. It's English only. Yeah, nothing here polished enough to make it to the fall list. We have about 5 more. 5 more pages. Here we have something called Gone is Gone. I have no idea who this is, but this looks like this is some kind of political troll of some sort. But oh, this is the ex-Nissan Motors CEO who apparently escaped from Japan while being prosecuted by Japan, and according to him, persecuted by Japan in a spectacular fashion. Which, in all fairness, I will fully, having a 99.9% conviction rate in Japan does imply that they do everything in their power to railroad even innocent people into jail in convictions. I would say even in the United States the conviction rate is far too high. And we have heard certainly stories of innocent people being put behind bars. Truly innocent. Not that they shouldn't be in jail for the things they did, but that they literally didn't do the things that they're accused of. Alright, well, let's see how this works. I'm going to... Can I play this? No. I'm going to attack here. That'll get me to 19. And then it's just a matter of getting that last damage. Next we have a game on Steam that's just a bunch of Asian characters. You can see it's already mixed. It looks like it is some kind of resource space exploration game by the looks of it. It kind of looks like it would be more of a board game, but I don't think it really is. It doesn't really matter. English is not supported. It's early access. It's $6.99 and it's Chinese only. And by the looks of it, it's for people who have actually played it. They're not enjoying it any more than I think I would. Alright. Can I get beyond this point? Yes, I can. Because I'll do this. And then I'll do this. And sacrifice each of those. And then make him sacrifice each of those. And then what I'll do is bring this back onto the field by sacrificing the food token and do another damage. And that'll win the game for me. Oh, well, I didn't even get that far. So I could have done at least 2 more damage. But we're still having trouble getting 25 kills as far as the opponents are concerned. This will probably be our last game. Maybe, maybe not. We may decide to go through the Lunar New Year sale. TechRaptor has an article here. Captain Tsubasa of Rise of the New Champions is coming to PC and consoles in 2020. This is a soccer anime, Tiger Spirit, like, experience. Yeah, I imagine this is somewhat popular in Japan and might be even somewhat popular around the world. When you think of like one of Japan's most popular kids anime, Detective Conan, that the detective kid in that plays soccer every now and then, or shows off his soccer skills in one way or another to I guess the delight of the viewers. soccer is pretty popular. In fact, there's a new Lego set that is one of the, like, 100-year-old soccer stadium in England that's coming out. It's like $300 though, so I'd love to have it, to have an entire soccer stadium to put on display, but also, you know, that's asking a lot of money. And honestly, it's not the soccer team or the soccer stadium I would want, and I think that's also going to be a problem with that Lego set. Is that you're going to have a lot of people who are fans of other soccer teams in the UK that don't want that team or that stadium. Let's see. Let's go ahead and take that guy out. Or not. Let's see. By the way, this isn't video game related, but London, the city of London, I believe, is trying to put facial detection software in all of their CCTV systems that completely cover, I would imagine, 80% of all of the public areas of London. And I mean, what can I really say to Londoners out there? This is what was going to happen. You should have known that the second they started putting cameras up, is that eventually there would be some technology that would expand the abilities of those cameras to spy on citizens. Really should come as no surprise to anybody. That's kind of the whole point of the V for Vendetta mask thing in the first place, is that. And I would imagine plenty of other countries, very possibly a lot of places in the United States, already have such software. They often let corporations install those kinds of softwares, and then the corporations just give the footage. In the United States, the Nest doorbell cameras are clearly going to, if not already giving almost all the footage to the police, they're working their way towards giving almost all the footage to the police for any and every reason without a warrant. If it matters to anybody whether a warrant is used or not, I'm not sure it really does. Moving on back to video game news though, TechRaptor has an article here. FFT Battleground lets you bet on Final Fantasy Tactics. This is a low effort skin, I guess, of something. It's a Twitch TV stream, I guess, more than anything else. The idea of what looks like fake gambling, yeah, it says there's no real money in play. But like promoting fake gambling while watching other people play games seems like a bad direction to go. That really is not how I think they should play. That's not something Twitch should encourage. That's not something other people should encourage. Alright, so we got another Mastery Orb, which means we can go over to here and we could get another skin. And almost zero chance, like probably a zero chance that I'm not going to get all these skins. But pack wise, we didn't get any new packs, And collection wise, we really are just getting more of the same. And it seems like the cards that I just got, I already had 4 of, because it's not even being marked as new here. Like, if there was a new card added to my collection, it's insane that I'd be getting old cards, and already I have enough of a collection that it would be building up in that fashion. I should totally still be getting new cards all the time. Particularly since there isn't really a dust system here. They should just lock out the ability to get duplicates. Well, whatever. The Steam blog here, the 2020 Lunar New Year sale has begun, and the Emperor's Great Race is on. It's Year of the Rat, I guess. Let's see. You spend money and you get rat tokens. You also get daily red envelopes, which I don't think I've gotten yet. And they give you tokens also, red envelopes being what they give gifts of cash in the Chinese New Year, I believe. There's a whole bunch of profiles and stickers and chat effects, but not a specific trading card badge for purchasing things, so you don't get extra trading cards when you purchase things in the sale. But there is a specific badge that you upgrade with 1,000 tokens up to 15 times, and I'll probably at most do it only once, but I mostly wanted to talk about the December top releases. So Halo Master Chief Collection, Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem was a big seller, but I think if we would look at it, you'll see that it is mixed in reviews. People not enjoying it at all. They feel like it was a pretty bad Nancy Drew game, which is saying something considering most Nancy Drew games aren't that great. Day of Dragons, never heard of it. Darksiders Genesis apparently was the top seller, alongside Red Dead Redemption 2. Idle RPG Endless World from Radiance Games, China. This is a mostly positive game. I've been seeing a lot of advertisements for idle games. If this is truly an idle game, it looks like it has a decent amount of stuff on it. Yeah, that's not too bad. Does it have in-app purchases? Yes, it does. Again, I would say though, why would you play an idle game that's not on your cell phone? I have a game here called Nostos, The Lost Home, that is mixed as a single player with online co-op. This looked good, but I guess at this point you take it off the follow list. Like, it's reached the point where it should leave the follow list. It didn't get well received, which means it loses relevancy. Even if they fixed it later, it doesn't really matter. Ashwin, GTFO, Boneworks, Dragon Quest Builders. Hades came out of being an Epic Store exclusive, and it was the first Epic Store exclusive. So pretty much with every month, there's a decent chance going forward that some Epic Store exclusive will come to Steam, for better or worse. Hurt World last year. This game, mostly positive in the last 30 days, mixed in this. I think this is an online player versus player game. Yeah. It looked interesting as kind of a horror humans versus giant spiders or giant monsters game, but not something that I would be willing to play because it's online. Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York was a top seller. Again, mixed. So You can see January is not the good month as far as video games, and this is a terrible way to start any year. Certainly, to have half of the top sellers in the game uh, that come out in a month be bad. Sayonara Wild Hearts overwhelmingly positive, though. So that was a good one. Coming out of Apple Arcades, Winter Resort Simulator, which how much of is simulated in that game? That would be my interest. Is can you actually ski, or are you just going around? It seems like you're just driving around maintaining a winter resort, and yet people like that. DJ Max Respect 5, very positive, in early access. And why does this have the League of Legends character in it? For a rhythm music game. Seems like they've licensed the League of Legends characters in this DJ Max Respect game. If any of those screenshots wanted to load. This is probably a rhythm game I would not ever actually be able to play, unfortunately. And then VR Paradise Gentlemen's Club, clearly an adult game. We don't need to click on that. The top 3 releases were Wylands, a game I haven't heard, a game called Paunch, which looked like a troll joke game, a game called Iron Sight, Idle RPG Endless World, again getting listed, so it was a top seller and a top free-to-play, a game called Infernia. Also, notice they only listed a couple of free-to-play games there, where they listed quite a few top sellers otherwise, which I don't know if that's because there was a specific number of sales that they were limiting themselves down to, or what. Alright. So as far as Steam and the Lunar New Year sale, I'll do a little bit of e-begging, but not too much here. You can see the main front page is not really doing a lot. I don't think you're going to get any special rewards if you go through the curator recommendation feed here, your discovery queue, in this sale. This is a simpler sale, and since I have already spent a lot of money, I don't really feel like I'm going to be buying a lot. What you don't really get around this is you won't probably have something iconic like a Japanese game really go on sale because of the Lunar New Year sale, which is more Chinese games, and there really aren't a ton of great Chinese games, so they can't really be the main drivers for a sale anyways. So here's the red thing. So we open this, we get some dialogue, and it gives me 100 tokens. And so they're just telling a story. And apparently it started a couple days ago and I just missed it. Interesting. What's weird is that wasn't in my inventory, so I've really had to bend over backwards to find that. Featured deals are all they're really doing, so they're pushing me towards buying a lot of games that I already kind of knew. And then we have some recommended things. I don't own The Witcher 3 on Steam, and I don't own any of the DLC. I don't own the latest Tomb Raider game. Hollow Knight maybe would make some sense. I have about $11, so I'd be a penny short. I think I have $11.98 exactly. In fact, it probably would just tell me exactly how much I have. Yeah, $11.98 exactly. So I'm like a penny short for any of these. Resident Evil 2, if this is all of Resident Evil 2, that might not be a terrible sale, but a lot of these percentage discounts you can see aren't getting up to the 75%, 80%. I went through my wish list and I won't bother to go through it right now, but there definitely are some some problems there as far as very, very few games that are 80% off. So the discounts seem like they're not as good as they could be. And the things I own, like I have Fallout 4, but I don't think maybe I have all the DLC of Fallout 4, but I don't have Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition. I was thinking about maybe buying that. That way I have that option. Jedi Fallen Order is 20% off. Just kind of pathetically small sales. But not a lot. The DLC on sale might be a decent deal if you actually want the DLC. There definitely are some games out there that never put the DLC on sale, which is helpful. And let's see. What is this screwing up, or is this just the zoom? There you go. Let me see if this reloads and reloads any better. Let's try that again. Just clicking on this. Okay, that works better. Get the zoom all right. So the Lunar Night market here. For more tokens, shop on the sale. $1 equals 100 tokens. So you would need to spend, I think, $100. So $50 will get you $5 off, which I think actually is a better deal than the winter sale. A lot of these tokens are just rat theme things that I don't think too many people are actually going to want. And emote chat things that you're trying to promote. For 5,000 tokens, you can get an entire profile theme. For 700 tokens, you can get backgrounds. And then now they have these animated mini profile backgrounds, which are useless. And then they've got some more stationary profile backgrounds for 500. And then they have emoticons for 100. And the only thing that kind of matters to me is that for every level you could get, there's only 10 levels here, so they only really want you to spend $100, right? Every $1 is 100. So wait a minute, wouldn't that mean $10 for 1,000? Yeah, and then 10 1,000 levels would be the level 10 of your badge. And I don't even think people can help you with that, honestly. And it seems like at this rate you're going to get maybe 400 tokens for free, so you wouldn't even be able to get badge, level 1 badge, and that's pretty much all I'm going to get is level 1 badge, unless somebody wants to just gift me a gift card for $100+ or $100 even. There's nothing else to do here. It's a very simplistic sale, focusing just kind of on some random games on sale. If we were to jump to my wish list, it wants me to log in, and that's too much of a hassle, so I will ignore that. But yeah, I did look at my wish list and there really wasn't a lot there. I'm not sure I'm going to even bother to play a lot more today, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll try to get 10 victories on Magic Arena. And news-wise, I guess we could look at the Humble Bundles and just make sure there isn't another Humble Bundle. Over the weekend, I'm going to try and finish Hat in Time. That there isn't a great argument that I shouldn't be able to finish it. Infinity Ward says they're aware of an issue that's preventing PS4 players from accessing Spec Ops after downloading content from the PS Store. Phil Spencer had a tweet, amazing week in Japan talking Xbox Series X, Xbox Game Pass, and Project X Cloud with publishers and studios. So that would be interesting if that actually makes any progress, or as far as Microsoft's relationships with Japanese developers. Amazon Game Studios is hiring programmers and engineers, it looks like, according to Gamma Sutra. I'm not even going to bother to go any further with that. Yeah, and there's no other tweet news. No more Twitter news either. Yep. Unsurprisingly, it's a sleepy Friday with not a lot going on and no real news and not a lot of games that came out. It would be a little silly to say that there was a little bit of a drought as far as adult games. We didn't see any of those at all come out today, or over the past couple of days, and maybe even over the past week. I think some came out on Monday, maybe even Tuesday though. So I'd have to see a much longer drought of 2 or 3 weeks before I started to think that there was some suspicion or that they were going back to what looked like there was their old system, where they would just only approve games that were adult in nature every couple of weeks on one specific day, usually a Friday. Anyways, that's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, you can click on the link down to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist while they're on sale, or gift me a gift card if you don't want to make a decision. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.